Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you were there? Or struggled to recall a name you've known for years? If you're over 70, you might worry that these little memory slips mean something bigger, like your mind isn't as sharp as it used to be. But here is the good news: your brain is far more powerful than you think. And today, I'm going to share the #1 secret to keeping it that way. No fancy pills, no expensive treatments, just simple, science-backed habits that really work. Now, you might be thinking, I already do crossword puzzles and take my vitamins, isn't that enough? Well, those things help, but research shows there's something even more important, something most people overlook. And when you start doing it regularly, you'll notice a difference in how clearly you think, how quickly you remember things, and even how energized you feel every day. So, what is this secret? It's not just one thing, it's a combination of habits that work together to keep your brain young. And in this video, we'll go through them step by step, starting with the most powerful one of all. Let's start with something you might not expect: movement. Yes, moving your body isn't just good for your joints or heart, it's like fertilizer for your brain. Studies show that regular physical activity increases blood flow to the brain, helps grow new brain cells, and even reduces the risk of dementia. But here's the key: it's not about running marathons or lifting heavy weights. In fact, the best kind of movement for your brain is something gentle, rhythmic, and enjoyable. Take walking, for example. A 30-minute walk a few times a week can improve memory and focus. But there's a catch: you have to do it the right way. Instead of just strolling casually, try this: walk at a pace where you can still talk, but you'd have a little trouble singing. That's your sweet spot. And if you can, walk in nature, trees, parks, even your own garden. Research shows that being around greenery boosts brain function even more. Now, if walking isn't your thing, dancing is another fantastic option. It combines movement, coordination, and even social interaction, all of which light up different parts of your brain. Ever notice how people who dance regularly seem sharper, happier, and more alert? There's a reason for that. But movement alone isn't the whole secret. The second habit is just as important: feeding your brain the right fuel. And no, I'm not talking about expensive supplements. I'm talking about real, whole foods that science proves protect your brain as you age. For example, blueberries. These little berries are packed with antioxidants that fight brain aging. A handful a day can make a real difference. Then there's fatty fish like salmon or sardines, rich in omega-3s, which keep your brain cells flexible and strong. And don't forget dark leafy greens. Spinach, kale, and Swiss chard are loaded with nutrients that help prevent memory decline. Now, here's a quick tip: try adding at least one brain-boosting food to every meal. A spinach omelet for breakfast, a salmon salad for lunch, some walnuts as a snack. Small changes add up over time. Now, before we move on to the next habit, let me ask you this: have you ever noticed how some people just seem to stay sharp well into their 80s and 90s? It's not luck, it's because they've figured out how to keep their brains active in the right ways. And that's exactly what we'll talk about next. You know, there's something fascinating about people who stay sharp well into their later years. If you've ever met someone in their 80s or 90s who still tells vivid stories, remembers names like it's nothing, or even picks up new hobbies with ease, you might wonder, what's their secret? Well, I'll let you in on something surprising: it's not just about what they eat or how much they move. It's also about who they spend time with. That's right, one of the most powerful ways to keep your brain young is by staying socially connected. And I don't just mean chatting with the cashier at the grocery store, though that's a great start. Real, meaningful conversations, where you laugh, debate, or even reminisce, light up your brain in ways that solitary activities just can't match. Think about it: when was the last time you had a conversation that really made you think? Maybe it was a lively discussion with an old friend, or even a friendly argument about politics or sports. Those moments aren't just enjoyable, they're like a workout for your brain. Studies show that seniors who stay socially active have a significantly lower risk of cognitive decline. And the best part? You don't need a huge circle of friends to make it happen. Even one or two close connections can make all the difference. So, how can you bring more of this into your life? If you've been feeling a bit isolated, start small. Call an old friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Join a local book club or gardening group, anything that gets you talking and engaging with others. And if getting out is tough, even video calls or phone chats count. The key is to make it regular, just like exercise or eating well. Consistency is what makes the magic happen. Now, let's talk about another habit that might surprise you, learning something new. And no, I don't mean memorizing facts or forcing yourself to do things you hate. The trick is to find something that feels like play, not work. Here's why this works. When you challenge your brain with something unfamiliar, whether it's picking up a musical instrument, learning a few phrases in a new language, or even trying a new recipe, you're creating new pathways in your brain. It's like paving fresh roads in your mind, so even if one path gets a little foggy with age, you've got plenty of others to rely on. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, Martha, took up painting at 75. At first, she was terrible at it, her words, not mine. But she kept at it, just for fun. And within a year, not only did her paintings improve, but she noticed her memory and focus were sharper too. That's the power of novelty. Your brain thrives on it. So, what's something you've always wanted to try but never did? Maybe it's gardening, knitting, or even using a smartphone app to play brain games. The key is to pick something that feels enjoyable, not like a chore. Because when it's fun, you'll stick with it, and that's when the real benefits kick in. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but what if I'm not good at learning new things? Here's the truth, it doesn't matter if you're good at it. In fact, the struggle is part of what makes it so effective for your brain. Every time you fumble through a new skill, your brain is growing stronger. So give yourself permission to be a beginner, it's one of the best things you can do for your mind. And speaking of struggles, there's one last habit we need to talk about, one that silently chips away at brain health if we let it. I'm talking about stress. Now, a little stress is normal, but when it sticks around too long, it can actually shrink the part of your brain responsible for memory. Scary, right? But don't worry, there's a simple way to fight back, and it's easier than you might think. We'll dive into that, and how to make all these habits work together, in the next part. Trust me, you won't want to miss this last piece of the puzzle. Let's talk about something we all experience but rarely discuss openly, stress. Now, you might be thinking, I'm retired. What do I have to stress about? But here's the truth, stress doesn't care about your age. Whether it's worrying about health, finances, or even just feeling like the world is moving too fast, that tension builds up. And here's what's really frightening, chronic stress doesn't just make you feel bad. Research shows it can actually damage the memory centers of your brain over time. But before you start stressing about stress, let me share the good news. There's a simple, scientifically proven way to counteract this, and it doesn't require medication or expensive therapies. In fact, you can start doing it right where you're sitting. I'm talking about deep breathing, not just the occasional sigh, but intentional, focused breaths that signal to your body, it's safe to relax. Here's how it works, sit comfortably, place one hand on your belly, and inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Feel your belly rise. Hold it for 2 seconds, then exhale for 6 seconds. Do this just 3 times, and you'll notice something incredible, your shoulders drop, your jaw unclenches, and your mind clears. This isn't just relaxation, it's like hitting a reset button for your brain. Do this a few times a day, especially when you feel tense, and you're actively protecting your memory and focus. But breathing is just the beginning. There's another powerful stress buster that most seniors overlook, gratitude. Now, I know that might sound fluffy, but hear me out. When you intentionally focus on what's good in your life, whether it's a sunny day, a good cup of coffee, or a call from a loved one, you're doing more than just feeling nice. Studies show that practicing gratitude regularly lowers stress hormones, improves sleep, and yes, even enhances cognitive function. So try this, every night before bed, name 3 things you're grateful for from that day. They don't have to be big, just real. Over time, this small habit can literally rewire your brain for resilience. Now, let's put all these pieces together: movement, brain-boosting foods, social connections, learning new things, and stress reduction. Individually, they're helpful. But when you combine them, that's when the magic happens. Think of it like a symphony. Each instrument is beautiful alone, but together, they create something extraordinary. Here's what a typical day might look like. You start with a short walk while noticing the birds singing. That's movement and stress reduction. You have eggs with spinach for breakfast, brain food, then call an old friend for a lively chat, social connection. Later, you spend 15 minutes trying to learn a new song on the piano or a few words in Italian, mental challenge, and before bed, you jot down what made you smile that day, gratitude. None of this is hard. None of it requires money or drastic changes. But done consistently, this is the recipe for a mind that stays sharp, engaged, and joyful, no matter what age the calendar says. I want you to imagine something. Picture yourself a year from now. You're remembering names easily, picking up new hobbies without frustration, and feeling genuinely at peace. How different would that make your days? The beautiful truth is, that version of you is absolutely possible. It starts today, with one small step. Maybe it's trying that breathing exercise right after this video, or calling someone you miss, or even just adding blueberries to your grocery list. The key isn't perfection, it's persistence. So tell me in the comments, which of these habits are you going to try first? Let's support each other in this journey. And if you found this helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button, share it with a friend who'd benefit, and subscribe for more ways to thrive after 70. Because here's the truth, your best years aren't behind you. With the right habits, they're happening right now. Here's to living sharp, staying vibrant, and enjoying every moment ahead. I'll see you in the next video.